to stop. Here's Ross, the host with today's dose of common sense.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. Oh boy. Well, I was browsing around on YouTubes and stuff, and I came across some video from a series that Jeremy Corbell has done for TMZ called the TMZ Presents UFO Revolution. Now, we're going to talk about something specific about this show, but the first thing I wanted to talk about is that when they're talking to Jeremy, they're basically following Jeremy around everywhere, and he's talking throughout the show. Parts of the show are just, videos of him interviewing other people and talking to other people. Not like he's having a conversation with them, but he's interviewing them. And a separate camera crew is watching him. And then they take a chair and put it in this open room and sit him in it and then ask him questions that are obviously scripted questions because you can tell that the person is reading it instead of, hey, I have a question for you, Jeremy. And Jeremy, of course, in true Jeremy fashion, is constantly being melodramatic and trying to mimic that he's shaking because he's so concerned or scared about something, and it's all just bullshit. The whole thing is stupid. So, yeah, Jeremy Corbell has probably done more than anyone in the last 20 years to bring attention to the UFO UAP topic. The guy is like a juggernaut of media attention, and he goes out there and he bangs on doors and he does a ton of videos and documentaries, and he talks to a lot of people, and he and George Knapp were even successful in getting some congressional hearings thrown out there to talk about the UAP issue. They brought in David Grush, all this stuff. They've done a ton to bring attention to the issue and made himself famous in the process. But it's all bullshit, and I'm getting tired of the bullshit. He keeps putting videos on and saying, this is unprecedented and blah, 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 and it's bullshit. Because what he's showing you isn't even what he claims it is. And I'm going to talk about one in particular, because I saw this one being discussed as it was some sort of, it's new UAP footage, it's revolutionary, and, well, yeah, UFO Revolution, that's kind of it kind of works its way in there, doesn't it? But then I went and watched it. It's on season 2 of this show. The first season has 3 episodes. I'm assuming season 2 is going to have like 3 episodes. But they bill this thing as being, TMZ made this thing. But if you go do a little searching on the internet, in several places, it's referenced as Jeremy Corbell's new series on TMZ, Jeremy Corbell's new documentary, Jeremy Corbell's new show, promoting his new show, and words to that effect. So, is it really a crew from TMZ approaching Jeremy Corbell and saying, we want to make a show? Or is this Jeremy Corbell pitching a show to TMZ and getting it greenlit and then making a show and trying to convince people that he's the subject of this documentary instead of being the person who made it? Because it looks eerily just like the shit that Jeremy Corbell puts out. And you have producers for this show. We're going to look those up and probably talk about them later. But actually, all right, I have to do it. But anyway, first we'll do that in a minute. But first I want to talk about this next clip coming up. So we're going to go to the screen share. Boom. And this is on Tubi. TMZ presents UFO Revolution. As you can see up there in the upper left-hand corner, this is season 2, episode 1. This is 41 minutes and 23 seconds into that episode. I don't think my little thing there is going to be in the way. I don't think. If it is, I'll move it and we'll watch it again. But here we go. We're going to talk about this. Now, wait. I'm about to make the same mistake again. Here we go. Desktop audio is on. I almost didn't turn it on. That was going to be embarrassing. Here we go.
Doing patrols to the desert.
This one caught my attention in 2008. It's military video from an active deployment where they know what they're looking at when they're out there. And to send it to me, it has another level of power. Right?
Wrong answer. This is what we talked about before. Just because these are military personnel doesn't mean they know a goddamn thing about what they sent you. It doesn't mean that they're even experts on their own job. They're just some Marines who are sitting in a vehicle doing something, we don't know what, watching sensors, sending up, balloons. Who knows what they're doing? But it's very important because the video is coming up soon, and we're going to start and stop and start and stop so I can explain it to you. But Jeremy Corbell is trying to tell you that because these guys were in Iraq on an active deployment, I don't know what an inactive deployment is. Anyway, he's trying to use all these words to make it seem like it's so much more important that he received this from these guys. And it's stupid. Anyway, let's continue.
Right.
All right, here we go. Dramatic effect here.
This particular evening, maybe 100 miles from the Syrian border, we sent up a coil, which is a 300.
I don't think they identified the person who is talking here. I didn't see it anyway. If they did, I apologize. I don't know who you are.
60-degree security, and basically I was looking at the thermals.
Okay.
Just kind of scanning back and forth.
I'm going to stop it already. What he's talking about, if you can see my cursor, he's talking about this thing right here in the video. You've got two dots that are basically visible, a large one and then a smaller one. Right, the one right there, the second one, the one that's a little bit up and to the right of the bigger one that's over there. This is hard, pointing my finger. For those of you just listening, I'm pointing a finger toward these, and it's hard to do. Anyway, he's talking about that other one. So let's go back, and I'm going to let it play for a few seconds more. And I want you to watch the entire screen. Look at the entirety of the screen like you're taking in a scene.
I'm going to say it's probably about 200 meters. I kind of see something raise up. An object kind of come off the floor from that distance.
Send a red 4. Roger.
I would probably say it went about 25 meters off the ground and started elevating upward. And I was like, this is weird. What the hell is this?
This thing is just lifting up, and they're watching it.
Okay. It's just lifting up. So, I'm going to have to, I don't even know if you can see my cursor, but if you can see this right here, this is the terrain feature here. This is the terrain. And the lighter portion, you see TGT, it's the targeting thing. It's probably going to, if you point this laser thing at a specific object, it's probably going to give you distance to target, that sort of stuff. But these two dots are real close together right here. I'm circling them with my cursor. But down below here, you're seeing the terrain, the earth right there. Watch what happens when it is moved around.
And basically I was looking at the thermals. Just kind of scanning
Watch
back
as he
and forth.
moves. They're moving the camera. The thing isn't moving.
I'm gonna say it's
The
probably
camera
about 200
is
meters.
moving.
I kind of see something raise up.
So watch the terrain, watch the dot.
An object kind of come off the floor from
It's
that
moving
distance.
with
Send
the
a red
terrain.
forward.
It's
Roger.
not
I would probably say
moving
it went
on its
about
own.
25.
That thing is not moving independently of the ground. You're probably looking at something that's literally on the ground. And if you look at this picture that's on the screen now, let me double check that you can see it. Okay, yes. Now, what you're looking at are terrain features. This is the Earth in this image. And you had the closer terrain, and it's being lit up with some, infrared or whatever it is. So that dot right there on the top, it's the upper dot now, has never moved during the course of this video in relation to this terrain. You're looking at a fucking light on the ground. And it's incredibly obvious that that's what you're looking at. Now, do I need to call these people a bunch of fucking idiots for putting this out there? Yes, I do. Yeah, you guys, you other people out there who do the debunks and, do the sciencey stuff, you can make it all flowery and prove to people. Mick West can go out there and show you exactly why this isn't what they're telling you it is. But I'm just going to say you're a fucking idiot for putting this out there. First of all, the guy who filmed it, the expert, because he was on an active deployment. If he didn't realize that thing wasn't moving, then it just, proves my point about military personnel not always being experts, even in their own jobs. But the thing isn't moving. The thing is probably a light on the ground, possibly a vehicle in the distance or something. It could be a chem light that someone threw on the ground for all we know. If he's saying it's only about 200 meters out, that's not that far. So a chem light would actually be brighter than that probably. So it could just be something that's reflecting the IR illuminator. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let's just keep watching so you can see it again. That it moves with the terrain. It is not independent of the terrain
Meters
at all.
off the ground, and started elevating upward, and I was like, this is weird. What the hell is this?
Now watch.
This thing
You
is
see,
just lifting up.
see where they're moving the
watching it,
camera?
like,
The
what
terrain is
that
moving
super
with
luminous
the
thing in
object.
the
What is that super luminous thing? Jeremy, you're a fucking idiot.
of nowhere, Iraq?
I was like, man, I gotta film this.
Middle
So
of
I've been
nowhere,
filming, so I was looking
Iraq.
through my camera screen and keep continually
Yep,
raising.
yep,
you know,
yep,
so
yep,
I'm using
yep.
that as
See,
like a
that's
giant
the
scope to,
camera
like, catch
moving.
everything.
Now watch. They're trying to
And
give you the
swing
impression
to
that
the
this thing
left,
is
to the right,
moving.
and then went upward.
Look,
It didn't go
you can
straight
see
up,
the
like, it was
terrain. You
moving
can
almost
see
like a
everything
back and
move
forth motion.
with
It just kept going
the
up, and I was
light.
like, what the hell is this guy doing? I knew it wasn't right.
But when
It's
he
not moving.
finally gets zoomed
It's not
in,
moving. He is moving. The camera is moving and the vehicle is probably moving. That thing that he's filming is not moving. It's giving you the impression that it's moving because that center dot is like the crosshair for that camera, and he's moving it around. Now, another thing you're going to notice
and you see the
is
shape.
how they are
almost like a
carefully
just shooting
cropping
thing.
this. Okay? They're carefully cropping this thing
Like something kind of slightly
so that you
protruding over
can't
the top,
see the
maybe.
bottom of the
Let's say 20.
screen. So what you're getting is this zoomed in image, and they're trying their best to cut out any terrain features that would show you that this thing is not moving in relation to the ground, that it's actually a stable object, that they're moving the camera around to make it look like it's moving. But you kind of see that where it's zoomed in there. This is a small portion of that screen because there's other portions that are shown when it's farther back. So they're intentionally cropping this, and I'm going to assume it was Corbell and his production crew that intentionally cropped this in such a way that you can't see the bottom of the screens and you can't see all of the terrain features that are moving every time they move the camera, because that dot is not moving. And it's easily
like across,
easily
I don't know, from the top to the bottom, maybe
proven if you can see the whole thing,
like
the whole
that.
screen.
Kinda gave me
They made a
goosebumps
mistake and showed
because-
us too much. They made a mistake and showed us too much early on. So now that you know that, when you watch this, it's easy to tell. But the terrain is in alignment with that. That thing is on the ground somewhere in the distance, probably just reflecting their IR illuminator.
I mean,
Now
it
watch,
looks
they're
like
going
the
to
gimbal.
give you the impression, oh, it looks just like that.
The gimbal UFO is one of the most important
looks
UFO
like the
videos
gimbal
that's put out.
UFO.
It's very
I wonder why that would be. Because it's interesting, they were looking at two images that are shot through infrared. Isn't that an infrared image? Isn't the gimbal on infrared? Or is that, I don't know, that's thermal, isn't it? It's thermal. Yeah, well, pretty much anything that you zoom into, like a dot in the distance, you're not going to have that dot in focus. You can't. It's just hard to do, especially with military equipment that wasn't designed to work that way. You're not going to get a clear image and a clear outline. It's going to be distorted by the aperture of the camera and all these other things. And I don't care what anybody says, you're never going to be able to zoom in and get a perfect picture of anything by using 2008, night vision stuff. I have night vision that's a lot more recent than 2008, and even when you adjust both of the focuses on there as best you can, still not perfect. It's still, anything in the distance is still going to be blurry, and you have to constantly adjust this thing because it's a fixed focus once you get it in there. So if you're going to change the distance that you're looking at, you now got to change the focus and everything because you're trying to, get something else clear. But wow, I don't know what to say about this other than I hope all of you can see what I just saw. The first time I watched that video, it was obvious to me that this thing isn't moving because they made a mistake and they were showing you the whole screen or most of the screen. So you could see that the terrain was moving with the light. So this is what we have to deal with. We have to deal with the person who gave him that video is not the person who took that video. I'll almost guarantee it, because the person who took that video in 2008 would have shown it to somebody by now. Somebody else saw it. Somebody posted it on their Facebook or some shit. And somebody took it and said, "Oh, I was in Iraq watching UFOs." No, you weren't. And the person who did film that on that screen with their phone or whatever they were using could have done a better job. But, but it's not a camera person. So now let's see. What are we going to do now? While I talk, I'm just going to get on to... I'm going to get on to the old interwebs. And I'm going to search for the producers, because there are producers who are listed on this, on the IMDb for this show. And we're talking about Christina Gomez, who plays herself. I don't know what that would mean. She's in season 2, episode 1, but there's no picture of her on here. And Michael P. Masters, who is, what is he? What does he do? Is he one of the producers? I'm trying to think. There was a list of the producers for this show. I gotta go back and find it now. But Jeremy Corbell has been bugging the crap out of me lately, because I really am starting to just obviously, like, every time I see him, I just realize that he's just so full of shit. And it's making me angry, as many things make me angry, because he's just pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. He's just another filmmaker who's making his living doing this. And it's annoying. It's very, very annoying. So let's see. Series editing by series cast. It's people who are just playing themselves in 1 or 2 episodes, so I don't know even what that is. I can't find... I thought those were producers earlier when I was looking at it. So let's see. Let's go to the screen share stuff, and I'll turn off Tubi. And let me pull up some Google here, and maybe you guys can have a look at it, and we can figure it out while we're here. Okay, there you have it right there on the interwebs. And I'm looking at IMDb cast and crew. That says cast, series edited by Ken Yankee, series sound department, Toral Alexis, and Andre Roden, series editorial department. I don't see producers listed. I don't see director, producer, none of that stuff listed. You know why? You want to know why I think? Because Jeremy Corbell did it. And he's trying to make people think that TMZ decided to follow him around with a camera crew. So one of the things that I saw was that had Jeremy Corbell in it that was promoting this series because he's been doing the media tour and everything, trying to get everybody to watch this show. I'm sure a lot of people have, and I'm sure it's well done. Because I will say Jeremy Corbell is really good at making a documentary film. Doesn't mean that they're honest or true or that they're not full of bullshit and that he's not trying to pull the wool over your eyes or anything like that. I'm just saying he is pretty good at making a film. His film about Bob Lazar, I watched, and it was really well done. It will almost make you believe Bob Lazar's bullshit fucking story. Almost, but not if you're smart. If you're easily manipulated, sure, you're going to believe every word he says. If you're Joe Rogan, you can just swallow that thing whole. But for the thinking person, you kind of go, wait, what? What? All right, that doesn't make sense. That's not the same story you told 30 years ago, Bob. It's getting strange now. All right, so it was Bob, or not Bob. See, I'm going to blame Bob Lazar for this now. It was Jeremy talking about they were going to lie to you, the American people. They're going to lie to you, the American people. And it was so upsetting for him. He was shaking. He was scared. And he was also shaking and scared and trying to act all afraid whenever he was saying that his life is in danger because he released whatever information and all that. It's all bullshit. But he was asking if you better check with your producers. You need to check with your producers to make sure you want to release this information, because what I'm about to tell you, it could change your life and change the world forever. So, you better double check with your producers before you put this into your documentary or whatever, right? He keeps saying these things like, you better double check with your producer. You're the fucking producer. It's Jeremy Corbell's show. And that's why you can't find any evidence of who the producer was, because it's Jeremy Corbell. I almost guarantee it. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's not very often, to be honest. That doesn't happen very often, me being wrong. I'll admit when I'm wrong, but this show sure does smell a lot like Jeremy Corbell. It doesn't smell like somebody else making a show with Jeremy Corbell or about Jeremy Corbell. It's a lot like Jeremy Corbell's little self-promotion tour saying, look what I've done over the last couple of years for the UFO community. And now my life is in danger. You must protect me at all costs. I'm a national treasure. But I'm going to tell you something right now, and you better ask your producer. I don't know, leave me a note or something telling you that it's okay to put it in your documentary. Oh, but then when you go back and read it, it's the media describes it as Jeremy Corbell's latest show. Interesting. Anyway, it's all bullshit. And I just wanted to say that because I'm going to talk more about this. Obviously, I'm going to talk more about this show because there's so much in there for me to attack right now. But that is the first thing. And I just saw it on somebody else's video, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. I think it was on somebody's video for a channel called Vetted. And I'm sorry, I've never seen your channel before. I don't remember your name. But that's where I saw it first being played. And so I had to go look at it myself. And because in that little video that they did, I was like, nobody can tell that. How come I'm the only person who can tell that the thing is moving with the terrain? Anyway, sorry, I can't give you proper credit because I already closed the browser and I'll never find it again because that's how the internet works for me. Once I see something, it disappears forever. Or it disappears from my browser and then I don't know where I found it in the first place. I'm a middle-aged man. Cut me some slack. The channel was called Vetted, I think. Vetted. But it was vetted with or by or something. It's a guy's name. And anyway, I'm sorry. So, yeah, there we have it. Somebody looking at terrain features and a light on the ground or a reflection on the ground and moving a camera around and telling you, oh my God, it's moving. And you can literally see the bounce when they're moving the camera, when they're moving the what would you call it, the turret that the camera's on or whatever. When it's moving, you can see it jerking and it's moving exactly with the camera. I can't believe these movements that it's making right now. And then it's shot left and shot back right. Man, that's so stupid. And TMZ is paying him to make this garbage. And they're feeding it to the world and going, look at this. This is evidence. This is disclosure. It's just fucking stupid. And Jeremy Corbell is doing a disservice with his dishonesty and his, he's got a great imagination, and he's really good at the melodrama to make people think that he's in danger somehow because he's releasing this information that nobody fucking believes in the first place. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a disservice to the people who actually have an interest in this topic. It does a disservice for anyone legitimately concerned about adversarial nations' UAPs being able to just go wherever they want in our airspace. It's a spit in the face of anyone doing any legitimate research into this topic. And Jeremy Corbell is spitting in your face every time he comes up with one of these bullshit videos that anybody who's ever seen a real camera work can say, dude, what are you doing? That's not an image. Or it's a reflection on the screen. Or the time Lou Elizondo thought a chandelier that was lit from inside a room reflecting on a window was a goddamn mothership. These are the people that people are listening to. When it comes to the UFO question, UAPs, they're listening to a bunch of idiots who are just making a fortune off of your trust. And they don't deserve your trust because they do bullshit like this. Oh, look at this light in the sky. It's not in the sky, it's on the fucking ground. And I can tell that on a very poorly shot video that you intentionally masked so that we couldn't see the whole image. And then you intentionally moved that around even though the camera in the video was moving already. So now you're going to zoom in and move the zoom around to make it appear even more so like the object is moving when it's not. Because you're just a charlatan and you're just a circus sideshow freak who's pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. And it's sad, and it's a shame, and I hope it stops sometime soon, because it's just fucking killing me. Just even watching these videos is killing me, because they're stupid, and I don't want the average American, or anyone on Earth, to be that stupid, to fall for this stuff. I'm sorry. And that's not me saying that there aren't unidentified things flying in the sky, or that our adversaries don't have top secret stealth craft that we haven't identified yet, or that our own government doesn't have things that we're not aware of that are flying around in the sky. And I'm not even saying that these aren't alien spacecraft that people see sometimes. It could be. Anything is possible. But what's not possible is for you to convince me that a fucking reflection on the ground is a UFO flying around in the sky because some Marine told you so. And that it happened 16 years ago or whatever it was. 16 years ago. And this guy's like, oh, hey, I got this really cool UFO video. You want to see it from 16 years ago? No, it doesn't add up. And the video is bogus. I'm gonna be talking a lot about Jeremy Corbell this year, I can tell. I'm sorry. I'll give you a little heads up. I'm sorry about that, but there's going to be a lot to talk about. But tonight we have to watch that barber guy on News Nation who's going to, he's going to talk about some other stuff about hauling away UFOs with his helicopter. I'm looking forward to that. 8 o'clock tonight, News Nation. Stay tuned. There's going to be more. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Really? Just Stop with your host, Ross. Make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss a dose of some common sense.